Hey guys, what's up? Found a little cool spot, and Sasha is gonna be with us for a little bit. Actually, really nice here, and there's a bee by my head, of course. You know, it's kind of funny every time we try and do videos. There's something trying to distract me or friggin' kill me. Not really, but anyway. So I wanted to do a very basic video, kind of about the past years I've been doing this journey, or what I've learned in this, if you would even call it self-improvement stuff anymore, because I mean every day I still do a lot of habits to be better and stuff, but also we've been so busy with life in general. It's like full-time self-improvement's kind of a difficult thing when you get out and you get older and you need to pay for shit and you need to get going on with life, I guess. But you still are able to squeeze time for certain things that are very helpful and beneficial for you. But and I know it sounds very silly to say, but you know, money is a huge part, especially here. You know, in the U.S., it's kind of like a system, but we have our own ways of doing things, and kind of money is very relevant in a lot of situations that actually you can even have more time to buy more time. So money is very, what the hell? See, every time. Money is very important in this system. You know, it's not, you can say it is everything and it isn't, but it allows you to do what you really want to do and not being able to have to slave your life away for something less and you're not getting paid anything. But anyway, so let's get straight into the video. We'll do like small stuff of like health and mental health, emotional health, physical, kind of the job side of things, school side of things, and just kind of in categories and what we learned about people, friends, family, relationships, stuff like that. So it might be a little longer video, but let's hop straight into it. So, I think we're ready. Anyway, how about we start with probably one of the most important parts, and whether if it's not in the beginning, but also becomes something later in the end, to where when you get at a really good stage, or when you become a very, I'll say, advanced character, or you really developed yourself, it's the social life, and that's in terms of family, friendship, and relationships, any of that. So, to start off, what I learned from the social aspects of things with friendship and relationships and with family is one common thing that goes for yourself personally is you need connection, you need human interaction. Otherwise, you will find yourself to be, and I was somebody who would say I do very well alone, which I can, but on a certain amount of time, it will carve you up being lonely and doing this lone wolf stuff, because it will. Thankfully, I didn't extremely go that route, but I didn't choose, but I also was kind of given that path a little bit, where I was quite lonely for a while, or maybe I had some friends, some family and stuff, and like that. But in terms of like struggling, right? And your personal struggles are, you are in time, like, and I guess I'll say this, in a time where you need somebody, you don't have anybody there, or you might have people who you're not super close with on a deep level. You see them every now and then, you have fun, but it's just kind of time in the day, nothing like with surreal, if that's the word, or I'll say serious purpose, or something that aligns with you. So that's the first thing, is you will need somebody or someone or some sort of connection or interaction, no matter how much you deny it. So with that being said, do your best to meet people and to try and get out more. And even if you're not making friends yet, you are at least going out, you're seeing different scenarios of maybe social interactions or human interactions, whether if they're good or bad, whether if you can learn from them what to do, what to avoid, or maybe you are, again, I mean, even if better, if you were traveling and you're, let's say, in a different area or a different country or somewhere you're not familiar with, it's even better like that, because you learn how different people are and how in different, you can say, societies, cultures, or countries, how they do things, how they treat each other, and how people should really be treated. Because generally, from my experience, people from other countries are very hospitable, very friendly, very intelligent, versus here in the US, it's TikTok trends, it's fake people, it's freaking LARPers or whatever they call it now, a bunch of broccoli heads and racist, ignorant, whatever you want to call it. Americans are the dumbest out of everybody I've ever met in my life, and I've met a lot of people, and I've been to a pretty decent amount of countries. You'll find a lot of people who say they left the US and go to different countries. They say very similar things. So that's the first part, very basic. On 2 more points, but we'll do a couple more. In terms of socializing and the social aspect, now we understand that you need a connection, you need an interaction, you need people. So now we want to get into how to make that happen, how to actually make the magic work, I'll say, or how you can really make friends or be close with people and kind of read their vibe. So on that spectrum, there's a lot. Damn, I might have to whip out my fucking chancla, bro. These things are everywhere. Fucker. Damn. Now I got all this stuff on me too. I don't know if it's pollen or what. Something from the palm trees. Anyway. So with that being said, you want to, let's say, once you developed yourself, and there's so many branches that comes into this. That's why I want to try and keep it simple, even though it can get very complicated. But let's say you're average, like when it comes to social interactions, human interactions, and you've been really working on yourself, let's say. And the spectrum, as I was saying earlier before I almost got stung, with meeting people and how to make everything work, is you have to, one thing, not overthink it and not try too hard to be likable, because it seems fake, unauthentic, and people can actually really see that. Even some of the most ignorant people can even feel, or I'll say sense, if something's off with you or if you're not being genuine. And that's the biggest thing. You have to have your authenticity, not try and change up yourself for someone else who you're not even familiar with at all. Maybe they would prefer how you were before, your authentic self, but you made up a fake or false reality so somebody would like you more. And then you realize, oh, wait a minute, now I just made myself look like an idiot. Now I'm going to look like an unbelievable person. So once you kind of have that established, you have your authenticity, you have your honesty, and you have your confidence, that's where you're really going to start noticing people approach you maybe a little bit more, or they tend to see you as more, maybe we could say friendly, or maybe a little bit more unique. So again, you're more approachable. Maybe they ask for your advice or your help, or maybe it's something as simple as, oh, hey, do you know where I can go here to get this? Or maybe they might ask you, oh, hey, how you doing? How's your day going? Stuff like that, very simple. So as you kind of go on and you get through and with those interactions, it only gets easier as you go. Now, a thing with this you do have to be careful for is some people are also genuinely like evil or sick, or they have very dark energy about them, whether if it's their personality, their character, their vibes, maybe they're egotistical, and maybe they have a very judgmental personality. Maybe they grew up in a not the best household, so they're just kind of naturally hateful people, I'll say. And you come across them every now and then, or you seem like, you have an off feeling about them, or they give this very some also give a very douchebag kind of energy, which those guys suck. And those guys will hate you for anything, no matter what. People like that are irrelevant to your existence and in your life, so just ignore them. Because at the end of the day, they are nothing, which is a harsh reality, but some people are genuinely past the point of, kind of coming back from some things, I'll say. And I think everybody gets a second chance in certain situations, but some people, they don't realize kind of those things till they're on their deathbed or they're very old. And then some people turn around their life for the better at a younger age or a lot sooner, which is good. So that's the second point. So for the third part, when it comes to socializing, friendships, and the social aspect, and kind of the main thing is friendship. Build a circle of people that you can trust and find the kind of traits they have and really focus on those. So if you make friends, you can make regular friends or acquaintances, classmates, whatever, coworkers, sure. But what you want is true friendship and as more of a brotherhood. You want absolute trust in these people. You want absolute almost comfort and reliability. Can't always 100%, but we want kind of like a family, I'll say, even though if we're not blood related. And a lot of that kind of leads up to how those people are themselves, how they are together. You guys probably heard this saying a million times. You're the average of, let's say, the 5 people you hang out with. And I was at a point where I didn't even hang out with 5 people. I was hanging out with nobody. I was just me and myself, bruh. And we'd have family stuff every now and then, but stuff at work. But other than that, it's like, dude, I remember it was nothing, and I kind of still am looking for my circle, I guess, where I feel like I can be me and be 100%, and I can trust people, and it doesn't feel fake or off or trendy like TikTok fakeness, But focus on those people's character traits, how they view life, how they view health, and how they view themselves, how they view others, how they are as overall human beings. And I'll kind of put this on a spiritual perspective. You want to find the trait in somebody that makes them a good-hearted human, a good-hearted person. Because those people, if that's their authentic character, those are the ones you actually want to establish a really good, I'll say, connection, a relationship with, because you guys will be on and I'm speaking for myself too, because that's what I want. Someone to, I guess I'll say, who is knowledgeable on how they work themselves, how others work themselves, or how they view everything that's surrounding us. Like, that they're present in the moment, that they are grounded on the earth, and it's very much say, as I was saying before, from a spiritual perspective, and that is where I'll say you've hit gold, because a lot of us are struggling in this kind of generation where it's just pure degeneracy and fake friendships, and people are friends because of substances or events, occasions, or they secretly like your girlfriend or something. But it's crazy nowadays, and that's why it's even worse for the younger kids, because they grow up on social media stuff and brain rot and TikTok. The early 2000s kids were the last. We kind of got that normal lifestyle when we were younger, before all the crazy things that go on in today's world, So that's a few points I want to bring out in terms of the friendship kind of social interaction aspect of things. But it goes on to a much deeper level we can always discuss in a later video. So for the next part, I want to talk about in terms of the health, fitness kind of side of things, and also goes with like sleep, dieting, all of that. So we'll do the health aspect. So what I've learned in the couple of years of time, and I'll try not to go on a rant, about health and food and everything and how it's affected me and changed me. And to keep it on a simple level it is, I would actually say, single-handedly one of the most important things. But as the deeper you go, the more difficult it gets. Because if you're really strict with diet and health and food and what you're consuming, the deeper you dive, you look that everything in the US wants to kill you, it wants to destroy you, wants to make you infertile, wants to make you lethargic, wants to make you stupid. There is more than enough things, studies, research, and real life events, and from me even experiencing for myself, that those things are true. So I'll give you an example. When I was younger, and I think part of it had an effect on me till this day, my family was pretty stupid with how we ate. We didn't eat the worst junk food, but they were still very ignorant when it came to health and dieting, very ignorant. And so when I was young, I didn't drink a lot of milk. I drank soy milk for some fucking reason, because that's all my parents really bought. And so me and my brother, we were like soy milk fiends, bro. We didn't know it was cooking us. And I imagine if I drank like real milk and healthier food, I ate healthier food and drank real milk when I was younger, I would probably be in a little bit of a better situation in terms of health, a better head start. So we didn't eat as healthy. And as I started to get older in these past 2 or 3 years, I have really been great when it comes to dieting and food. Because I remember myself back then, and I kind of have this anger towards it on like, you know, I was fed crap and I didn't even know it, and my own family was kind of feeding me crap and they didn't even know it either. So it's a very aggravating thing, and it's driven me to eat super healthy and to remember what those days were like when I was feeling tired, lethargic, or I wasn't performing as well in anything. And I was probably cooking my testosterone, not gonna lie. And yeah, and it builds up a fire in me, it angers me. So whereas today, I am really strict. Like no soda, no alcohol, no smoking, no junk food, nothing. If it's an emergency, I might get something that's not the healthiest. But like, sure, I'll admit last year when we were in France, we had some really good wine. But, you know, we weren't drinking every day. It was like, had a couple of, you know, sips and had some for a couple of the nights, but that's it. And yeah, I smoked with my boys. We did some really fun cigarettes and stuff. You know, and obviously cigarettes there are a lot better because they don't put a bunch of added shit like they do here. And it's like, even while doing that, when I was in Europe, the food there regularly is so much better, so much healthier. I've never felt so alive. We'll get to that in a sec. We won't get too off track. We'll try and keep this on topic. So going back a little bit, I realized that I was eating bad food. So as of today now, I was telling you guys, I cut out a lot of stuff, a lot of different food. And it takes time for your system to get through that. But when you kind of eat healthier, you do detoxes, you cleanse yourself, you are actually more prone to get kind of sick to unhealthier foods. But also if you eat really healthy, you're kind of stronger, your immune system's very strong. But you will definitely notice and feel the difference when you've been eating clean, you've been on a detox, and now you, let's say, tried unhealthy food for a little bit, even sometimes one meal or a couple of days of unhealthy food, you feel like pathetic. I'm not even kidding. That was the biggest thing for me in Europe. I went to Europe, I ate such great food, I was really healthy, and I had so much energy. When I came back here, and I was eating really good, still was like not as much as before, like I didn't feel as great as before. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try one fast food place, see how I feel. Oh my God, I felt sick, I felt so tired. I was like, dude, I can't believe we are consuming these kinds of foods every single day. So that's just kind of some experiences and examples and proof that I've done and that's just a fraction of proof that I've done myself and that I've tested with different foods and trying different things, that what really had an effect on me and what really changed how I viewed things and how I performed. So along that comes with, or I'll say what else comes along with that health side. Damn, Sasha, is sleep. Oh shit, neighbor's horse is going crazy. Is sleep. Sleep is one of the most important things, especially for us as males, because that's when I believe the most of our testosterone is produced, or one of the most times. So, and I remember I used to work swing shift. I was getting home at 3 in the morning. I would still get actually more sleep than I did on day shift, but the hours were really messed up. My sleep schedule was very messed up. So I felt like my circadian rhythms were cooked as well. And so my testosterone was pretty good actually, but I still felt like it could have been more and better. And then that being said, switch over to day shift, and I have to go to bed very, very early, even just to get 8 hours. And doing that means I get no time for literally anything after work, maybe a couple hours. But even then, to get home, to have dinner, after I'd have dinner, shower, and do my night routines, I would only be able to get 6 hours of sleep maybe, which is not the greatest. And so I definitely noticed huge impacts on sleep and being sleep deprived or not getting consistent amount of hours, and especially not feeling that kind of motor that you have really running at its capacity. And it's funny, I think I have that thing where if I sleep 5 or 6 hours, I don't perform as good or whatever, but if I sleep like 3 or 4 hours, for some reason I have so much energy and so much like drive. It's a very weird thing. Either if I sleep 8 hours or a little more, I'm great. If I sleep 4 hours, I'm great. Anything else, it's like over for me. It's very weird. But what I've learned from the sleep side of things, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it on how you sleep, the way you sleep, how you breathe. Breathing is important, how you breathe, and you can use mouth tape, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Sleeping on what side too is important. Definitely some things to keep in mind too is changing your bed sheets often, your pillowcases often, making your bed, and having good habits like before you go to bed, try not to be on your phone too long. I always have that orange light filter because blue light will absolutely cook your eyes and cook your brain. So make sure to have that orange filter on. I like to have it all day, every day, 24/7, but at least have it when it hits like a couple hours before your bedtime and then when you wake up in the morning. So that's a little bit on sleep. There's a lot more, and we'll get to some of that when we'll talk about a little silly topic with looks maxing, which is very funny to say. Hey, what are you doing? Sasha looks max. Look at the cam. No, she's too shy. Anyway, so we have the social aspect, and then we talked a little bit about health, and then there's a couple more things I want to talk about on the health side before we go on to the next thing. So, the gym and sports, and overall the health mindset. Okay, I've done a fair amount of sports, whether it was in school or outside. I've done the gym kind of consistently. I had maybe a year or two of consistency, and then it was very on and off. And then I've also had experience with injuries and some really bad ones too. So I will say this is very controversial, but it's kind of obvious, and a lot of us deny to admit it. But social media and a lot of these trending cultures ruin a lot of these positive things and outcomes and these positive habits or hobbies, sports, and just how our generation is in today's day. So I'll be more specific. I love the gym in a sense, but I hate it at the same time. I don't hate the hard work and discipline. I just hate that I find it to be very kind of dead end and not very purposeful for me. It's more of a foundation. I was always more of a sports guy. And secondly, with that is, I somewhat love the gym and hate it, right? But I especially hate gym culture because it's very false. A lot of it, there's a lot of good info, a little bit harder to find, but most of it is bullshit. It's baloney. I know it's funny to say. It's lies, it's fake. It's to sell their courses, their products, their lies, and to sell you out to make you feel terrible and to fill your mind with so much stress that you don't even know what to do sometimes. Everyone has their own way, their own idea, fine. But gym culture is so, gotta be careful with my words. I'll just say it's cringe. I'll say not all. Most gym culture is cringe and it's crap and it's stupid. Okay? Especially when you see those guys who are literally barely 18, 19, 20. They see these fitness influencers who are on serious roids. They try it. Now they're really big and they're huge. But listen, they can't even breathe. They have to use a freaking, there's a certain word for it. But it's like it's a oxygen tank, but like literally a machine to help them breathe at night when they sleep, because they can't even fucking breathe. Are you kidding me? What kind of bullshit is that? These people are promoting this on young kids and saying you can be like this and you can be like me and I'm this and this and that. But when you find out of context videos of these guys, they're complete gym cells. They have, dude, their brains are fried. They're on fucking drugs. They have roid rage. They have sometimes character, and maybe their character is just the gym. Outside of that, they're boring, they're lame, they're uninteresting, and they can't even sleep at night because they can't breathe. Those are not people you want to find, I guess, inspirational. Maybe temporary inspiration, but look for people who are actually natural, who are honest, and who value sleep, who value dieting, and value balance, and who are not just complete freaking meatheads. You get what I'm saying here? And where people just get egotistical and they're unfriendly, unhelpful, and they make you not want to go to the gym because of maybe you. I mean, everybody has their own insecurities about the gym too. But try not to worry about all that. That's the really bad thing I hate, is that gym culture gets you worried, it gets you insecure, it gets you sometimes, for some people, even depressed. But ignore those people. Ignore that culture. I know sometimes when you go to gyms, you feel overwhelmed because you're seeing all of that firsthand. Now, my best solution, if you really don't like it, because I hate it, go when the gym's not busy. Maybe build your own home gym, find private gyms, or do, I'll say, extracurricular or alternative exercises where you can do the same things outside, or you can play a sport which has really good benefits compared to just lifting metal all day and that's your only thing. As they say, it's a talent, which anybody can lift fucking metal, anyone can lift weights. This guy can lift heavier, maybe this guy can lift heavier, whatever. There's always going to be someone bigger anyway, or you might work really hard, you might be natty, but this guy can double your maxes because he's on fucking drugs. When it comes to athletes and sports, that's far more impressive than just saying, yeah, I go to the gym and that's it. It's just gym cell crap. I'm not saying working on yourself and building your strength is bad, but I'm saying there's a lot of lies and fake ideologies and a lot of ignorant douchebags. Fuck it. Do your own thing. Do what your body tells you and do what you love. Dude, there is great balance where you can play sports and do gym training, but you're also having a purpose behind whether if it's a sport or a hobby. So much better, so much more impressive. It's something you love, and dude, hell, you could maybe have a career at that. You know what I mean? The gym isn't life unless you have 2 brain cells and you're all drugged up. Sure, those guys won't live very long. Their balls are cooked, and if they have kids, they're going to be mutated freaks. It literally fucks with your whole body. Seriously. It's the truth. But that's just a rant. So let's get outside of that. But on the good note of things, in terms of, excuse me, in terms of the gym and what I've learned is, long story short, have good consistency. Obviously, as I was saying before, have a good diet, good sleep, and find some good influencers, maybe some good programs that teach you how to do your proteins and your balance and your macros or whatever they say, and to give you a routine on certain workouts like arms, legs, and etc. and stuff. So, or maybe if you want to do calisthenics workouts, there's a lot of great stuff for that, and you can never go wrong with those. So it's very simple. The gym can be very simple. You can either be super complicated and, anal about it, which at the same time, it's like some things, yes, you need to know, but other things you don't need. Like, this is just extra shit. I don't need to be a fucking nerd. This is simple. I know what my body needs. Everybody's body's different and how it works. So find what works for you. Go when you can, lift when you can, have consistency, have discipline, and make sure to avoid injuries and all that such, whatever. So now in terms of like sports and injuries, and I know I didn't really talk about bulking or cutting. For me, my metabolism is very fast, so my bulks are very, very slow. People are like, oh, well, you're not doing right. It's like, dude, I was having so many calories and protein and eating so healthy and to where I felt like I was gonna throw up, and I barely would gain weight. My metabolism is crazy fast, but also explains why I'm also pretty agile and I'm still pretty lean, even though like my muscle gets really strong, but I don't get huge, If anything, my best physique build is gonna be like probably a Muay Thai style, like not too big, not too small, really good in the middle, but like muscular, I guess, but also very agile, not stiff like a brick, like those gym guys who can't even run straight, which is so funny. Anyway, sorry, won't go on a rant, but so there, now we have that. So with sports, what I've learned, and every sport is different. Stop eating grass, stop it. What I've learned in different sports is the main thing that will make you perform better no matter what is always going to be the mindset, your focus, because that's also part of your mindset. And what comes with that, as you guys know it, everything branches off from your dieting, your sleep, your habits, but your mindset is number one when it comes into sports. The absolute best thing. Secondly is the discipline, because when you have the mindset and you have the discipline, you're pretty much unstoppable, because you're willing to learn, you're willing to try new things to improve your form, your skills, your numbers, your times, and you are able to understand as a great athlete, to be a great athlete isn't just with good performance, it also comes in with good character, because when you have that good character, it says a lot, and it actually can really get you somewhere, and even then you can actually perform better because you have that humility, versus where if you're not, a lot of the times you learn the hard way, or you block off a lot of useful information because you are, I'll say, okay, we'll just keep it at egotistical or arrogant, that you are losing valuable information, experience that you could get. And so with sports and injuries, you can get injured in just about any sport, and again, it's very situational. Some things are in your control, some things are not. I've had many concussions, almost broken an arm, luckily I haven't, and I had a torn hamstring before. And some things go by, maybe if you didn't stretch, maybe your coaches neglected you, or maybe you were pushing too hard, or maybe that you didn't have good habits, or maybe that something unfortunate happened you couldn't control, or during wrestling, maybe you got put in a move and your arm almost snapped, or some kid almost broke your arm, which, damn, that almost sucked. And the best thing for me, and what I've learned from my injuries, obviously recovering, doing, PT or personal training, or is it physical training, doing physical training, doing like stretches and letting your muscles recover, and again, eating healthy is a big one. And especially for me, when I had my concussions, was you realize your muscles and everything else, it can bounce back, but your mind cannot recover as well as you think it can, and as other parts in your body can, because if you really, like me, I've probably had 6 concussions now. Some were mild, some were nothing, and some were pretty serious. Once you get to a point where you've damaged your head so many times, the next couple of times are going to be really bad. Don't overload yourself. I know it might be stressful. You feel like you're losing time and you're wasting time, but have patience when it comes to your head and your brain, because that is the most valuable thing. Because I would much rather lose an arm or a leg than my mental capacity and be a complete vegetable. Your brain and your mind is much more important and valuable than you think. So please hold on to that. And don't forget who you are in your head and as you are as a character. And that's why I say, stay the hell away from drugs, please. So there's some bits and pieces there, and we can always get into more health-related videos. But to summarize that in terms of health, on the sports, sleep, diet, gym side, all of that, injuries, the number one thing is to there is more than number one thing, but we'll just forget I said that. Say the source of the main things to remember is do your research, put in the work, put in the discipline, have the best mindset you absolutely can. And discipline, again, as I said before, very important. And have mentors, find people you can trust, find what works for you and your body. Don't take the easy way out. Don't take the instant gratification. Don't take any of the drugs. Do not screw your life over for temporary fun, because as you get older and down the road, you will realize you threw your whole youth away. And I know for that generation, there's a lot of people lost in that ideology, in that false reality that that's how it is, but it's not. They will very soon realize, or as they get older, they threw it all away. I've met people like that. I've seen people like that. I've seen people who were never like that go on that path. And it sucks because there's a lot of degeneracy around those things. So just remember that, okay? And don't always overthink it, but have good habits, have great habits. You'll be a great athlete in whatever you do. And again, this is a very basic video, so all the scientific stuff, or however you want to say it, can always come later. You can do your own research on that. And there's a lot more I could say, but I don't want to make this like 2 hours long. We'll keep it maybe an hour, maybe 45 minutes. Let's see. So we have the social aspect done, the health aspect done, along with many branches. We didn't much talk about relationships. I think it'd be better to do for a separate video that I'm still planning on doing, and it can be very specific, so we'll do that for another one. What else have I learned? A lot, but I also have to keep it on a simple, basic note. A lot of it depends on the stage of life you're into. Hey, you resting your head on that thing? Look how hairy she is, bruh. Oh, she's shedding. Anyway, I think the third point, there's so much more I want to make, but I don't want to make this too long. I've learned so much during these past 3 years, 4 years, especially the last 2 to 3. And there's so much you can take away from it, and there's so much that I can tell you, but you know, you're going through your own life, your own purpose and your own thing, and the thing you love, or the purpose that you have, or the things you want. You'll figure out your own way eventually, and sometimes you'll have to experience things yourself, but you can also have, I will say, others kind of teach you, mentor you, or learn from their mistakes so you don't make your own from their mistakes. If that makes some sense. But you'll get to a stage where after you get past the basics, you're in a spot where you're kind of like, now what? What's the next big life step? Or you hit that point, or at least for me, I hit that point where I haven't felt the same and things have not felt real for me at all. And sometimes I've been consistent and I know what I am doing, and then some days I'm on autopilot, and then some days I don't even know anymore, or what's the point of anything, you know? And that the time is just ticking, because when you get, you turn like 20, 21, you're like, dude, those young days of being carefree are over. Unless you're like super rich and you have all the money in the world and all the time, it's different. But not all of us are in that spot, and not all of us, well, I want all of us to be there, but I'll say some of us might never be able to get to have that, or get to have that luxury. So for the last point that I just thought about, I'll say let's fix this a little bit. For what I've learned through self-improvement, I've learned a lot more again, but we'll just keep it on a small note. And finding your purpose and figuring out who you are and what you really want and what your life could look like, or what it will look like. Let me move this. There's shortcuts and there's long roads. There's temporary destinations. I got dog hair on me. Oh my God. And there's final destinations. And there's things that sometimes you will never be able to fix or go back on, or there's things that are always changeable. So, to be real with you, it took me a little bit to really find my purpose, to figure out who I was, and to figure out the stuff that I actually really love deeply, and the things I truly want in life, what's possible and what's achievable. Anything's possible, by the way. Don't let people tell you that it's not. Nothing's impossible, but it still could be very difficult to achieve that. However, for me, it took me mostly experience. Sure, learning and information and figuring things out really helped, and reading, journaling, and seeing life. But what really does it is getting out there. It's meeting people, going places, and having experiences that you never even thought you could ever have. Or getting out of a reality or a world that you were told, or that you were supposed to live in, or that you used to live in, completely changes, right? So sometimes you'll have to make sacrifices, and you can say waste valuable time to get where you actually want to be, and to be the person that you are. Because now I have myself set. I know what I want. I want to be successful. I want to be happy. I want to be at peace. I want to have family. I want to be financially well. And I want to be able to live life how humans should. I want to be able to live life happy, to make others happy, to make others smile. But also a big part of me wants to rebuild the strength of my family, or even start my own. and to be a icon in the bloodline, to be a big part of that, or to even have a huge history, whether if it's in my family or even outside of my family or within much, I guess, not much, sorry, with many others around us, like not even family. I kind of lost it there for a sec, but sorry. But you understand what I'm saying. I want to be powerful in a way that actually affects people, and to where I feel like I'm not the only person who's on this earth or in this world. And I mean that from a spiritual perspective, to where you don't truly feel alone. To where you can live in the moment, I guess. Be present in the moment and be able to I guess be able to almost like live in another life that you felt like you've always had, but you just haven't got there yet, but you know it's supposed to. It's like nostalgia. It's like, or you could say deja vu or whatever. That you know what fuels your fire, what gets your heart racing, or what makes you want to stay for a reason you can't explain, or what gives you so many reasons or thoughts in your head you can never explain, and you just can't get there, or nobody understands you. Somebody will understand you. I hope. Maybe I just haven't. I've met some people like that. Sometimes they stay, sometimes they don't, you know? But where you can meet people like that, where they're almost forever, to where when you're on your deathbed, you feel like you've done something great in life, and the history and the past you have behind you was amazing, and that you can pass on to your family, that they will do great things, amazing things. That's what I want. That's what I want for you guys, to feel like you've done it. You've served your purpose. You've helped this world, your world, and your family's world. Anybody who says that's cringe are people who have no family, no life, no purpose. Why would you not want to be the best person you can possibly be? Why would you not want to be almost a, I'll say, superior human within your character, your spirituality, and also for your family? That's what it's about. And then you'll find your purpose. You'll find your purpose as life goes on, but don't spend your time on things that are only dragging you down further. There's a great book called Siddhartha, and this kind of what life is like, his story and his adventure. That's what it's like for everybody, and that's what I love about old stories, or during those timelines. These guys, these men, these young men would go on their own journey. And that's what you need to do. But we get caught in this system where our journey ends after high school, and you're stuck working at McDonald's as a cashier, or cooking freaking, God, dude. You guys heard this thing, put the fries in the bag? Doing the grilled, bro. Doing the fryers at McDonald's. That's not where you're supposed to end up. It's sad some of us do. Many of us forget this, and many of us kind of, I'll say, we lose you as a person when you forget this, because I'm not trying to put you in subjects or categories, but we lose your character and your soul as a person on this journey, or this path to be an actual present human on this earth. You go back to those fake lifestyles, those fake false realities, to where now you're just kind of like a every other person. You're a broccoli head, you're a bot, you're an NPC, you're some TikTok loser or nerd. Look at the younger generation. It's copy paste, copy paste. That's what you go back into when you forget these things, when you forget who you are. I don't want you to end up somebody that you're not. If you're happy with it, okay, fine. But ask yourself, are you really happy with it? Or is this a delusion I've been fed and that I believe because of all the things that have been presented and given to me? Do you feel like that back part of your brain's not on, not working? Do you feel like something in your brain's not on or working? That's how you know you're doing something wrong. Take a moment and just look around at your surroundings and where you are, and then think about that then. If you're really where you want to be, if you're the person you really want to be, if you speak the way you want, you look the way you want, you feel the way you want, or you are happy with yourself. So, I think this is giving us max aura, but just, bro, have fun. Live life a little bit. Take something seriously that you understand needs to be taken seriously, but also have fun. Goof around, dude. It's life, bro. You don't have to be so freaking nihilistic about everything, or so unoptimistic, or so negative, or so serious about something that can just be let go. Make yourself laugh, make someone else laugh, make the people you love laugh and smile. That's all it's about. Really. The happier you are, you will realize at the end of the day, man, I don't need all this stuff, I'm really enjoying life. And learn to enjoy the small things. Find a way to get out of a system that doesn't work for you so you can live the life you want. Okay? That's all that matters. So it is up to you. It is your decision to make at the end of the day, to choose the lifestyle you want and to choose the person you are going to be. I know my eye keeps twitching. I've been having that, bro. It's fucking me up so bad. Sorry. Dude, literally, I don't know, these past couple of days, my eyelid's been so messed up. I don't know what's going on, bro. I think I'm going crazy, but no, I'm just kidding. But it's your decision. It's your life. So choose it wisely. Use the time as best as you can and spend time with people that you really care about and cherish as much as you can, because we only get older by the day. They only get older by the day. And you can't go back from that. You can never buy back time. Find people who view life the same way as you do, or maybe in a way you've never thought of or expected before. In a way that I'm talking to you, that they view life in a loving way, in a peaceful way. Almost like Buddhist values and teachings, actually. To where that you can trust them, that they can trust you, that they will be loyal to you. They'll be loyal to the people that you bring in your life with them or with you, or even if you start a family. And it's very difficult to find, because the huge, vast majority of people now, and especially for us in our age, sometimes is getting better, but mostly getting worse. So I hope there's more of us out there. But until then, we'll talk about all the other really deep level of thought next time. And well, regardless if this does not get as many views as I hope, maybe decades down, maybe it will, or maybe if I ended up getting to the success I really wanted to be, maybe a bunch of my family passed down can kind of see this, and they can kind of maybe get an inspiration or get an idea, or at least that there was somebody in the family who really cared, and I guess wanted to build an empire. Because I'm only going to be this young once. I'll be 21 soon, you know? I'll still be young at heart when I'm older, but that's what I love about videos. You can have the documentation and history, so you can always rewatch this like it was a moment that will always last forever. Crazy, crazy thoughts. It's very interesting how the world works. You can decide to really get into it. You could be really connected or disconnected. So it's up to you. So let's wrap it up. Just about an hour. So yeah, I've had a great time. It's been a hell of a time, a hell of a rodeo. It's been a year since a lot of crazy stuff's happened. I wish I could go back to a lot of times, but you can't. So you can always wish and hope. So that's why you make the present day and the next day better. You make every day count. So, but sometimes those things come back. Sometimes as you get older, those, whether if it's memories, experiences, choices, people are your early decisions, go to your late decisions, some of those will come back and you get to have them again. So just don't forget and don't lose yourself, because a lot of people do. And even if this is kind of an outro for my entire channel, because if I end up getting really busy with a life, I can't make content like this anymore. If I can't do cinematic stuff anymore, or if I can't even do what I loved, at least there was a time in my life where I tried, or I had it for a little bit. So but yeah, it's a beautiful day. I want to get some food, so maybe we'll go eat something and try and post this, but yeah, we'll see what happens. It's so nice out today. Look, Sasha was with me the whole time. Hi, Sasha. You so happy? Yeah. All right, guys. Damn, my hair's getting so long. Let's call it a day. It's so nice out. So, all right. Until then, I see you guys on the next one, okay? Let's get a good spot for the outro. Yeah, that's good. All right. Peace.